Hey everybody, this is Curtis from PSN Stores. We are looking at Resident Evil Revelations 2. We're going to take a very brief look at Episode 1. I don't want to show too much of it because it is pretty short. And for that matter, I don't know if I'm going to do videos for each episode. I might just stick to this first one just to kind of give a taste of what this is, because it seems like all 4 episodes are... I mean, the first one I finished in about an hour and a half, so I don't want to show a lot of it. But then we're also going to look at raid mode, which seems super cool. So we're going to jump in now. Okay, so in each episode, you're going to start out, at least for episode 1, I started out with Claire. She's got a partner with her, and then Barry, like once I get through Claire's story, like Barry comes in and I play through his, and then the story wraps up, and I gave a little teaser for episode 2. It's pretty interesting cliffhanger. Won't spoil that or anything. But as you see here, so my clear time with Claire was 44 minutes, and then with Barry it was 52. So, and then also this also shows you kind of how my collectibles are looking. Not great. I need to go back and be a little bit more thorough with that. We're gonna just start with Claire. You can do co-op locally if you'd like. Co-op is also in raid mode. That's local only for now. I think when all episodes are out, I think online co-op is supposed to be included with raid mode at some point. So this is pretty great. This opening scene here. Look, so this game has some pretty amazing dialogue. When I say amazing, it's some, like, it's, amazing in the way that you might expect from Resident Evil. Some real, like, dumb, campy lines. One of the best is coming up pretty soon. Terror save. Oh, this is pretty good too. I think it's Tear. Doesn't have to end with Arist. Like, sure, of course. We're gonna skip the rest of this, so we can get into actually playing this. I just that is one of many lines that are in this first episode that are just incredible in the best way. It's also a lot of really good like throwbacks and references to older Resident Evil games. They specifically call back the Jill sandwich line, which is pretty incredible. There's a number of other ones as well that are equally as great. So yeah, we were at that party. Some people came, captured us. We now awaken with these wristbands, and no clue where we are. So, and yeah, so the first part you play is Claire. She's also got Moira, whatever. You will find very soon. She is Barry Burton's daughter. That's kind of what you need to know. And so the two of them are going to travel along together. Claire is she's going to be the person who has the weapons. And then
I'm gonna get you out of there right. Moira, are you okay?
Moira here, she's got a flashlight. She is very much against wielding guns. She does eventually get a crowbar that she can use.
I just wanna go home.
But one thing she can do, like, so you have your flashlight, you can, in darker areas, you can, shine it around, look around. But, she also can spot or items, like some ammo or different item pickups
I wish I could tell you.
that only she can spot. She'll use her flashlight. She can like shine her beam, and you'll see like a little flicker and a little ding sound will notify you that you found an item, and you can go over and pick it up. It's actually the same thing when you play as Barry. He finds this girl very quickly, very early on, who tags along, and she has the ability also to spot items, but she can also like she can kind of see through. She can't really see through walls, but she can see kind of the aura of different enemies through multiple walls, and like if you crouch down, you can see a little bit farther. So it will show you this kind of like cloud, this cloudy image. So she can kind of point out to Barry like, hey, there's some enemies around this corner, and then you can kind of sneak up on them, and do like a stealth attack. And then of course Barry, he starts out and he's got all sorts of guns and ammo.
Did you hear that? Is there someone else in here?
But yeah, so if you've I never got around to playing the original Revelations, whether it was on 3DS or I think when it got ported to consoles. I never really got a chance to play it or got around to. But it definitely seems like this is pretty similar, and just how it plays and things like that. So if you play that game, you probably have a decent idea of what you're getting into. One cool, so this is your inventory screen, and you can switch back and forth between characters and things like that. I don't know if I can pull it up, but you'll find crafting benches that you can upgrade your weapons with different like weapon upgrades that you find. That stuff carries over between playthroughs, which is pretty cool. And I imagine will carry over to episodes as well.
I think we can squeeze under this. Give me a hand, Moira. Go!
So yeah, there's actually like some light puzzle solving in this. There's a section towards the end of the Claire story where you have to escape this area, and like just a ton of zombies or I don't even know if you want to call them zombies, like a ton of mutated people are just coming after you. And I mean, I guess you could potentially just escape in your own way, but there is very much like a specific thing that you can do to kind of keep them at bay while you work on escaping. It's a pretty cool moment, very tense. Like this is obviously, it's a pretty, there's a good bit of action. This is something that's I just finished my first playthrough a couple hours ago, and it's super weird because I'm coming off playing the remaster from last month. So, these are very, very different games. And so it's a little weird. It takes some getting used to, but I don't think this is bad. This is actually, I was expecting the worst. I was not, I was a bit worried about how this would turn out, but, so far, an episode in, I kind of like where it's going. I think, not to spoil, I won't spoil anything, but episode 1 ends on a pretty interesting note. And then I also, we're going to get to it in a minute, I think the raid mode is super cool, and it definitely opens up some potential to have just a ton of replay value and just a ton of content for this game, which is something you don't see when you talk about episodic games like this. Usually you're thinking adventure games that, sure, your choices could potentially change the way things pan out, but usually it's not something you're going to be playing for a lot of time, whereas this is something that it seems like you could go back to quite a bit. So we'll play a little bit longer because we're getting close to the area where it kind of teaches you about Moira's flashlight and stuff.
All right, we made it. He's over there.
Oh, there's one of the collectibles. I'll have to remember that for later. Oh, it's weird. So in the first playthrough, these keys are actually hanging on there. And so it has a little tutorial section where it's like, hey, you can switch to her, and then you can shine your light to see that's where it is, and then you like shoot it down to get the keys. I guess seems like maybe there are some things that they change up on your second playthrough. That's pretty interesting, actually. So yeah, we're gonna stop right here though, and then go into raid mode because I don't want to show too much of this. But yeah, so episode 1, like, I'm not really sure. You know, obviously it's hard to tell where things are gonna go from here, but I'm a little more positive on it than I was expecting to be. I really thought, from what I had seen before this game came out, like I was really worried that this was not going to turn out very good, but it seems like it might be all right. At least that, and maybe closer to even good, which is not something I was expecting. So I definitely went in very cautiously towards this game, but it seems like it's going to actually turn out a lot better than I was expecting it to be, which is great. And you know, a lot of it is due to this raid mode that. So I haven't really played a lot of the more recent Resident Evils, and so I've never really played raid mode. In any of the games that have it. And so this is my first experience, and I'm really into it. I've only, you know, I haven't played too many missions yet, but I'm already kind of like, I see what it's all about, and I'm like, yep, this is. I could see, you know, me spending a lot of time with this. Like, it's pretty fun already, and it seems like there's gonna be a lot to do. So I've been playing as Barry. So that's what we'll do. So here are my weapons I have. I've got my handgun, shotgun. You see over on the right, there's some different. I got 2 other shotguns that I also found. Here's some skills. So you have active skills. Mine right now I'm using is Firebomb. I've leveled that up once. I've got a health up that I've leveled up a few times. I've got my handgun master that I've leveled up to level 5. Magic pixel I haven't leveled up yet. Those are my passive skills. You're seeing these are, you know, the levels, or I'm not sure, because I think the level cap is 50. So I'll unlock these over time. Then you got some real good jesters. So like the lunatic thumbs up one. It's pretty good. Now, from my understanding, I think a lot of these are reused animations from past games. It's kind of a bummer. Like, I don't know if there's any of these that are new or if they're all reused. I don't know if there's a split there. But even still, even if they are reused, these are pretty great. Like, this is weird. It's so crazy. There's some real good ones, especially watching Barry do these. It's pretty good. Anyways, So there's some of your character customization. You can go to in missions, you'll find these like records that you can evaluate. So I found these on my last one. So here's a level 5 Magnum. And now I can actually use that weapon in missions. You can also go over here and you can do some weapon upgrading. I can't really upgrade anything yet. I just haven't found any upgrades that I can use. But we're going to go into a mission. So I'm level 6 right now with Barry. Done the daily missions already. We're going to go into the next one that I haven't done yet. So recommended level 3. So I'm going to be pretty I'm already, you know, at level 6. I'm a lot higher than what I need to be. So we'll probably fly through these, but I definitely want to do at least one. But yeah, so even with this first week with episode 1 out, there's already a lot of like content for raid mode. A lot of missions that you can play through and unlock already, and then more will unlock over time. This is really exciting to me. It's cool to see, like, you know, like I mentioned before, a lot of these episodic games have been adventure games thus far, and they're games that it's like you play an episode and then you wait 2 months and you play the next episode. So this is really cool because, one, it's not an adventure game. You know, it's a very different kind of game, which is neat. So it's neat to see like a developer try the episodic model on a very different genre of game. But also it's cool to see it be something where every single week a new episode and new things are coming out for that game. So it's like closer to it like a TV show where you know, you're gonna get a new episode every week, but then there's also like a ton of other stuff that you can play through, which is great. Like, it's super cool. Actually, forgot to mention, in this these enemies right here with the kind of the infection on their head, when you're playing as Claire, you'll find a lot of those types of enemies, and like the game explicitly stated at some point that like depending on how I handle those types of enemies will directly influence Barry's campaign. I'm not entirely sure what exactly happened. I know that for the most part I tried to like shoot that weak spot on their head to take them out with Claire, but I'm not sure exactly what it was that changed or how it affected Barry's campaign. I'll have to go through probably another time to maybe look a little closer to see what it was. Yeah, those you don't want to get too close to. What I think it might have been is as Barry I ran into a couple of those, so I'm thinking maybe if I killed a zombie without taking out that specific like lump on their head, then it may have dropped and then it would have been waiting there, because with Barry's campaign you'll go through areas that you went through with Claire, and sometimes you'll actually kind of see things that she left behind in her wake. So it's a pretty cool, like, as you're going through this area, it's like, oh yeah, like I mean, yes, I was just here, but also like, hey, I know that this is the area I was in because I can see something specifically here that is happening that Claire caused. So it's kind of neat in that respect. So yeah, I guess to speak a little bit more about the way we're gonna handle this game in particular, because the episodes are coming out very you know, within weeks of each other. I'm not gonna do like a review for every single episode. What I'm thinking is I'll probably do like every time I finish a new episode, I'll do some sort of like impressions or wrap up of what I thought of that week's episode, and then by the time everything's done, all the raid mode content's out, all the episodes are out, I'll probably go back and write a longer article about my thoughts, and of course we'll talk about it on the podcast as well. This is probably going to be the only video I do. Like I don't want to do videos for each episode. Unless there's something like significant with raid mode I'd want to show off. This will probably be the only video. There might be maybe I'm not sure yet. We'll see how things go. And I don't know that like the longer article closing thoughts on the entire package it's gonna be a review either. We'll just I'm just gonna see, maybe kind of test the waters a bit with this sort of deal. It's because it's a very different kind of way to deliver a game. Even compared to like what Telltale's been doing and what Don't Nod's doing with Life is Strange. I would say the things I'm most interested in from here, specifically with the campaign, is I'm curious to see how they're going to handle the way things progress over each episode. When you start thinking about your weapon upgrades and those carrying over and what kind of effect that's going to have. Among many other things, because this isn't an adventure game, it's a very different genre, and so the way that's going to work episodically, and with each episode probably being under 2 hours, it's going to be super interesting to see how all that stuff pans out over time. And because right now it's like, I've got like the episode 1, like you got a little bit of story with it, but I'm really not sure what I think of it. Like I thought, the cliffhanger is really cool, and that could lead to some pretty weird and interesting outcomes for the remaining episodes. But I'm not sure, it's kind of hard to tell what to think of it all right now. I know this is definitely a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Like I'm pleasantly surprised with what the turnout is thus far. Hopefully it will continue to be as good or better. And also, you know what? Honestly, like I'm super excited to see this kind of model be positioned with a game that isn't just an adventure game. I think that's super exciting, just because it's so different. It's different from what you come to expect with episodic games, because thus far it's really just been kind of one kind, like it's been an adventure game. That's one specific kind of game. So to have something like this is pretty cool. But that's probably gonna do it. So this is Resident Evil Revelations 2. Episode 1 is out today. You can buy the season for $25, or you can buy each episode for $6 a piece. Something to note though, if you buy the full season, you're gonna get all 4 episodes. You're gonna get some raid mode stuff. But there's also 2 bonus episodes that are going to be, as far as I know, at least right now, they're exclusive to the season pass. I wouldn't be surprised to see those like offered, down the line, if you want to buy each episode separately. But so that's the thing. Like I don't know if those 2 I don't know if those 2 episodes actually will be offered. Like I imagine they probably will. But maybe they won't. Maybe it will be a thing where you'll have to get the season pass to get those 2 episodes. And I don't know. I don't think anybody really knows what those episodes contain. And for that matter, I'm not sure if those have dates, or if those are also going to be, 1 week after episode 4 or whatever. So I'm not sure how that works exactly. I need to look that up. But at any rate, episode 1 was pretty good. Like, it's, you gotta go in knowing what kind of Resident Evil game you're gonna be getting here. You know, if you are like me and you've just spent a lot of time over the last month playing Resident Evil Remaster, you gotta know that this is a very different game. Obviously, but I don't think it's bad. Like, I think it's actually pretty good, and there's a lot. It's got a lot going for it, and I think if the story is tough, because episode 1 doesn't have a whole lot of like major story beats to it up until the final minute or so of episode 1. So if the story can build off that in a really interesting way, and if that continues to be just pretty, like, if that continues to be as good as it can be, this could turn out to be really cool. The story, there's a lot of potential with what they've done with the setup for the story in this first episode. It's just a matter of whether or not that's actually going to pan out in the way that it hopefully will. And then other than that, now you have, there's some unlockable modes for the story mode where you can play with invisible enemies, or you can play like as a time trial mode. A lot of unlockables that you can do just through there. But then you have raid mode that it seems like there's just gonna be a ton of content and even more unlockables there. So in spite of everything else, one thing that this game really does have going for it is there's definitely going to be a lot of content here. And so far, I'm finding it fun. I think raid mode is something I'm going to be going back to a lot, especially as the season goes on for the next month. And I'm pretty excited to see where things go. Again, I went into this really cautious and not sure if I was going to like it at all. And I'm thus far, 1 episode in and having played a little raid mode, I'm actually pleasantly surprised. So we'll talk more about it on the podcast week, and I'll have a longer thing written up about it over the next day or so. But that is Resident Evil Revelations 2. It is out now on the PSN store. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all later.